Welcome into Gridiron Icon, the podcast. I am joined by my partner in crime, NFL legend Preston Denard. How are we, my man?
I am outstanding, my friend. I'm just actually excited. It's Saturday. It's
Yeah.
college
Yes.
sports day, and right now, Colorado, it must be crushing Utah. So good stuff's happening. Really happy about that, but doing well, my friend.
Good. You look good. You look good. I agree. There are some big games coming up. We got the Ducks in Wisconsin later today. I believe you're going to be in town for the Ducks following this game, so that's pretty exciting stuff. And the sports world's on fire. Let's
Yes, it
just be
is.
honest about it. We're going to delve into, I think at this point we need to consider this week's conversation kind of centered on controversy. let's
Controversy.
let's just call it the controversy week.
It is good with that. And with that said, we're excited about all
Here
of
we go. The crowd is on fire. I just want to start with probably the biggest story of the weekend, at least as of Saturday morning this week. That fight last night. What were we watching? And I realize that probably exposes my opinion right from the get go. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, 58-year-old Mike Tyson. I didn't even talk to you about this. I want to get your thoughts on what we witnessed last night on Netflix. If you were able to witness it, because they had a ton of tech problems, we can relate.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking about that very thing, but yeah, my first expression is we all got robbed. We got robbed last night. Now, let me tell you this. First of all, I'm 68 years of age.
Dang, you look
I
good, brother.
Thank you, thank you. I work hard at it every day. But what I was going to contribute to, Stace, is I know what I feel like at 68, and I'm in pretty decent shape. I
Yeah,
mean, I still got
you
my
are.
aches and pains and all that, but let me tell you, even in the shape I'm in, everything I saw in Mike Tyson last night, we all experience at our age. I mean, balance is not as great as it used to be. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I saw right there he's not going to be able to do, right?
Yeah,
Because you got to have balance, you got to be able to be centered, and that's part of athletics. Balance. It's the most important thing to have because if you don't have balance, you can't execute any kind of physical whatever exertion and still be able to accomplish that which you set out to do. Balance is very important. He didn't have that. And so he was a one-dimensional fighter. He was not the old guy he used to be. And I use that, old guy. But yeah, we got robbed last night. But
that was bad.
we got robbed if we weren't in the mindset of what it was really all about, and that was making money. All those
Yep.
people were there, paid their salary. All those people there wanted to see glitz and glamour, and we were all hoping, Stacy, for a wonderful miracle
Yeah,
out of the old man. But it's not there.
absolutely.
What he proved is he's just as human as every former athlete that's out there.
Yeah. I mean, it was really, there's so much to unpack with what we saw in 20, 30 minutes last night. I agree with everything you said. He didn't look like he had his legs, but I find myself this morning thinking about this more than I want to, that I'm torn because in the first or second round, Mike hit Jake with a shot in the face, and I thought, oh, Tyson's holding back. This is a payday. He's like, this is according to the script, as all the controversial people want to say. And I do think it was scripted. I'm sorry, folks. And then Jake looked like he was holding back in rounds 5 through 8 when Mike looked tired already. And it's funny because I turned to my better half, we were just like, what are we watching? I said, you know what's bad about this is my hip is killing me and I'm sitting on the couch. Like, he's a year older than me, Mike Tyson. And I was just like, what has sports become? Can you imagine being the people that paid to go watch that, flew into town to go watch it? It was the WWE, man. It wasn't even a real fight.
Well, you know what? It's so funny you
What
say
in the
that.
world?
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy deal because I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I did spend time to watch this, but I knew
Right.
exactly what I was watching. And, scripted or not scripted, it was not the event we expected in our competitive spirit. We weren't expecting that. So, when it got to be, I think the announcers were saying, it was right when the fifth round was getting ready to start, or they had just entered the fifth round, and they made the notion about, well, it's too late to turn back now. Yeah, I said, yeah, it's too late to turn back now. And I'll tell you what, he should have turned and ran quickly, because
Yeah.
the one thing about it is embarrassing. But I wake up this morning and I hear some noise about, oh, this is the first of some great stuff we're going to do with Mike Tyson. I'm going, I'm done.
I'm never watching another minute of that garbage. That was so bad. I felt like, again, looking for your opinion, I felt like at first Mike was holding back. I watched him hit him with a couple really vintage Mike Tyson. At one point, you see Jake kind of stunned, like you're not supposed. And then I went, oh, he wasn't supposed to hit him like that. This is all scripted. We're watching wrestling now. It was so bad, man. And it was. I don't know what. Maybe it's our age. I just felt sick watching a former champion. Who, by the way, we could have a whole conversation about Mike's history and should we really be rooting for him? I mean, it was just a very strange event, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I just thought, what in the world? More of this? Come on. If you're dumb enough to buy into this again, you're like,
Well, I hate to point the picture out, but if you
Yep.
saw that big screen and 70-some thousand people sitting there, that's exactly who you're talking about, because
Yep.
it was ridiculous. It was a nice, if your mindset was, well, we're going to go to a party, we're going to have a good time, we're going to watch
Right.
Mike and remember him and all this. But people really were expecting a fight. But
Right.
the best thing about that night were the two fights before them.
ooh, boy, those were brutal. The ladies, excuse me.
Yes.
Woo,
And Miss Taylor.
terrifying.
Man, oh my God. Well, let me tell you this. And those two ladies that I saw last night have far greater athletic spirit and tenacity than a whole bunch of men that I know.
Oh, heck yeah. They
that
were
tried to play
athletes.
oh my God. And
Man.
just warriors. Or do you say warriorette?
Yeah.
But they were the bomb last night.
It was tough to watch. I'm admitting it, right or wrong, it's tough for me to watch ladies hit each other. They were pummeling each other. And then the head shot that opened her eye, the incredible athletes, the hand and eye coordination and speed, no matter what you say, folks, that was incredible. And of course, I'm not going to bring up, so how would we like to see her fight Jake Paul? Probably not. Which is going to lead us into another subject here. It's absolute science and biology and incredible athleticism out of those women. They were the best fight of the night,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, they were. Yeah. And the guys right before them were just as equally good, but the ladies just took the night.
We're seeing some really special moments in women's sports, despite all the political environment. I mean, you look at the Olympics with the 4x100 team, you look at Caitlin Clark's explosion into basketball, and those fighters last night. We're seeing incredible women's sports in our old age. I mean, just absolute icons of athleticism, these ladies, which I think leads me into another topic I want to bring up this week. And I know that you and I have agreed we try to stay out of the controversial stuff for the most part, but we're getting better at diving into it.
We are. How can we avoid it?
you and I had a quick conversation about this lawsuit in San Diego State with the volleyball team. Where do you stand on this? I mean, we are seeing now, as we praise these female athletes, we're seeing now a bunch of female athletes who are being dramatically impacted by someone who identifies as a female that is a biological male. Here we go.
First of all, let me correct a little bit.
Please.
San Jose State and not San Diego State. But,
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant
no,
San
that's
Jose.
okay.
My bad.
That's okay.
Thank you.
But here's the deal. The first time I heard about it, I went, I know how I feel about it. I'm not jumping into a women's sport. I don't care how much greater an athlete they are.
Yeah.
But I know the dynamics of the male and what I'm capable of doing. I know a bunch of athletes, that are female, have some in my family that grow up. I know for a fact I'm not asking my boys to go jump in a women's sport just to be dominant and just to be, but I basically don't agree with it. because women have come too far to be taken back by us interfering in their exploits and the ability for them to lift the women in athletics. Are you kidding me? I mean, what's my favorite sport? Women's volleyball. I can tell you this.
They're so
There's nobody
good.
standing on the other side of those ladies waiting on their spikes. I don't care if you're man or woman. But when you talk about incorporating male with female, I don't care how you dress yourself up. Apologize, folks. I don't care what you call
No.
yourself. But I know what I was born like, and I know what comes with that dynamic is a design of power and strength and the way God has made us.
Yep.
But we don't belong in a woman's sport.
Ugh.
And here's the main frustration I have about that. It has disrupted a whole bunch of college teams that were on that schedule to play them. Now we got to entertain lawsuit. Now we got to entertain forfeits. Now we got to entertain the disruption in the conference play and scheduling and also ranking and who's going to qualify to play. There's so many dynamics that are involved in this that it was not meant to disrupt a beautiful flow and an opportunity. Yeah,
Right.
University of New Mexico played them. I didn't agree with that. That's my alma mater. I mean, I thought it was the most craziest thing to even do that. And there's half of other teams in that conference that decided not to play. I don't agree with San Jose State allowing this transgender athlete to play on the women's side. They'll never do that on the men's side. We do have women that have attempted to play the game of football and have done a heck of a job. And if you think about Katie Nida from the University of New Mexico, who was a kicker, perfect scenario.
That's right.
Within its own dynamics, she was received, the players received her. It was a working relationship. It was not a conflict of their performance interrupting what has been established in years past. We're trying to promote women's sport. We're not trying to confuse it, and this is a great confusion.
Yeah, that's a really interesting take from your standpoint. I hadn't put as much thought to the overall dynamic. You're right. You're interrupting. I can't wrap my head around why a transgender athlete is okay when they lay their head on their pillow at night, recognizing what you just described. We just interrupted what makes athletics amazing, a team. 10, 12, 15 personalities that are coming together from different walks of life for one common goal because of your presence and what you, again, respectful to what you want to do, you are now interrupting and like throwing a pebble in a pristine lake, rippling through an entire team of people, an athletic department, the sports world as a whole. This is a highly controversial situation that and then there's the matter of biological females missing out on scholarships or not having the experience you had when you went to New Mexico. Really wild stuff. When I read this article, and you and I talked about it a little bit this week, it made me think. I wanted to get your thoughts. Are we at a point with this, if we want to respect people's desire to identify as a male or female in the other gender sport, should we start a league? Should there just be leagues for transgender folks? It sounds like absurd, and some people may think I'm trying to be smart or funny. I'm not. Should we do that? Like, I identify as a female, I'm a biological male. Should we start a league for them? Like,
Well, my friend, I'm going to share you with this. How many transgender volleyball players are out
Yeah,
there
right.
to be able to have a league like this? I mean,
I know.
it's not a phenomenon that all of a sudden you've got a rush of folks that are wanting to, hey, we need to have our own game. We need to have our own game. Now, I don't agree with that, because now you're isolating the beauty of sports. Now it's all based on gender. And am I going to watch this? Is women's basketball more attractive or less attractive than men? Are you going to find Brittany Griner going, hey, I'm the best in the league here. I'm going to go try the NBA. I can muscle up on there. There's some common sense that comes with this.
right.
and somebody is challenging. I just leave it with this, Stace. San Jose State University is in disarray today.
Yeah.
The campus is delusional. This whole fight, now you got another effort in here where these young ladies at San Jose State, I'm sure most of them did not ask for all of this.
Right.
Whether they were conforming and just being nice and accepting of this particular change, hey, maybe I've never seen the athlete play, so I'm not judging the athletic ability, but maybe this athlete was such a dynamic athlete. Hey, you look like me. Yeah, come on, we need you. We need an advantage. I don't know if that was a mindset, but I know
That's
this.
an interesting point.
Today is not that important to these ladies who are out there struggling to try to, I guess, qualify their genuineness and effort and playing the best volleyball they can. Now they got to deal with this other dynamic that is affecting something that they love and they want. Who asked for that? Nobody did. What's the most common sense thing? Well, hey, if you want to play it, then go try out for the Olympic team. Go try out for this. Go try out for that. But now you're disrupting my young daughter who's trying to play volleyball, competitive volleyball, maybe be attracted to some traveling teams, maybe youth USA teams that are traveling across the country. I mean, they're trying to get somewhere. And you know how hard it is in women's volleyball to make some of those national teams to go and play across the waters? I mean, that's not that many players. You don't have that many people on one team anyway. You don't have multiple teams that go out and do it. They're choosing the best athletes they can. And if somebody who's identified as transgender, trying to make a statement, is taking that spot from a genuine young lady who is qualified to play the game, who deserves to be there, and now we've interrupted that. You know, what if they were 16, 17 and 0? I mean, they're not ranked. I mean, I see it. I know who's ranked. But what if they were qualified to win their conference, or they're going to win their conference tournament? Then are they going to disrupt the NCAA? Is the NCAA going to come down and say, hey, wait. This criteria is not within our bylaws. Oh, now we got to deal with it. It's just crazy. It's confusing. You really want to go play volleyball? Figure out how to do it. But don't disrupt our young ladies who are trying to pursue this and hopefully for a living out of it as well.
And there it is. I mean, as someone who played at the professional level, at the highest level, how delicate is a team environment, a locker room? Oh, yeah. It's fragile. And you see it every Sunday in the NFL. You know the teams that have a great culture, and you know the ones that are absolutely bombing in the locker room. And I don't think anyone has put an ounce of thought to the impact on the transgender athlete. Like, what is it like to walk into that locker room and you're the elephant in the room? Aside from body parts and being undressed and all that stuff, which is horrific in its own right, what you are disrupting the lives of 15, 20, 30, 40 other people that can't go to the store and buy these years of their life back and get this experience in a pure setting. You are doing it to them. What does that feel like to that person? I can't wrap my head around how this is being allowed. Everybody hurts. Everybody. Win, lose, draw, none of it matters.
Right.
Everybody is not having what I would consider an authentic experience. Your daughter's 18, 19, 20, 21, going to the university. It's exploding. She's in a lawsuit now. Game environment isn't even important to me anymore. I'm trying to survive this. It's just, it is such a tragedy for an athlete, a female athlete, in my opinion.
For the beauty of the sport, my friend, this is, it's just ridiculous.
So bad.
It's crazy. Now, I know you and I don't sit here condemning a transgender athlete.
Not at all.
What we're doing is letting folks know you didn't think about this. You didn't think about those genuine, true young ladies who are out there trying to pursue this sport in a documented women's division of athletics. And so now you've welcomed this opportunity in. The university or whomever made that decision, they didn't think about anybody else.
Right.
You know, that's my opinion, because what the result has come about, somebody didn't think ahead of and realize
that's
we
stunning.
need to really, yeah.
That is just stunning to me. If I today say I identify as an 8th grader, and I go down to Pop Warner football, what is going to happen? Forget the game, forget the injuries, forget all this other stuff that's going to happen by me being present there, identifying as an eighth grader. What is happening to those eighth grade kids who will never have an eighth grade football experience because of me?
Exactly.
This is a stunning conversation, and I hope that we arrive there. That's why I say I'm thinking, well, how do we solve it and everybody's happy? Do we start a transgender league? And to your point, how many athletes would be able to? There's a handful. I don't know how many athletes identify as transgender, but you're right. I mean, we know how tough it can be to find opponents to play, and all this other stuff. So it is such a polarizing conversation in our culture right now, and I guess I'm a little bummed personally because there are some incredible milestones being made in female sports. The Olympic sprinting team was incredible to watch. Those women, oh my God, the speed, the bravado. And then, Caitlin Clark basically saving the WNBA. Now, if Giannis goes to, or LeBron decides he wants to identify as a WNBA player, like what? Brittany Griner is an amazing player for what she does, but LeBron, now she has to guard LeBron?
Well, and you know
What's happening?
That's where we naturally think athletically, our mind is going that way, but then the argument's going to come back. But the difference is transgender.
Yeah.
And that's what they have
tough.
to address. Yeah, it's a tough deal. It's a tough deal.
Polarizing,
what do
man.
you do? But before you think about one, you got to think about others, and especially in a team
All of
concept.
it. Yeah.
Picture. Yes.
Great conversation. We'll continue to chime in as we unpack it mentally and emotionally ourselves. But I want to switch gears here for a few minutes because this is that controversy episode. Recently this week, you mentioned the Colorado Buffalo football program, which has a couple of dynamic players and happens to have a pretty dynamic NFL Hall of Fame coach, Deion Sanders. His son is the quarterback, and Travis Hunter goes both ways on offense and defense. And it came out this week that Deion's intention, and again, rumored, I have not spoken to Deion, I don't think you have. It's rumored that he intends on controlling the NFL draft, something you've seen in your time as a player. We've seen with John Elway. We've seen with Eli Manning. Deion now says he's going to control where Shedeur and Travis Hunter go. And I've got to ask a guy who played at that level, what do you think of that? Smart? Not smart? Where are we on this?
You know what? I didn't think it was smart before, but it worked out for the guys. Okay.
True.
In today's marketing of professional sports and the need for really good athletes at that quarterback position for football, yes, he can probably control his son and his actions and how he moves and where he moves to. He can do that. That's not a problem at all. How it'll affect the NFL? Not going to be worth a darn. Because I'll tell you this, they're not going to let one person control that entire draft. Here's one reason why it's not going to be controlled. There's some darn good quarterbacks that can come out, and he's not going to be. He may not be a number one pick. He could go. He could be low. He could be the first person in the second round, but he hasn't established himself as that big time professional quarterback.
Right.
He's got skills. He's got abilities, but he still hangs this ball too low. And with those guys in the NFL, the way they rush and the way they come at, and you see the way Michael Parsons, those guys slap at the ball, he's got to change a whole bunch of dynamics. So somebody's either going to say, okay, we want to develop him. He's not going to come in and just all of a sudden start. You look at a Caleb Williams. You look at some of these guys that are very talented. They're struggling today.
Yeah.
And you think you're going to go in there and control the draft? He's not going to replace somebody like a Caleb. He's going to have the same frustrations there are. So my point is this. He can certainly make the stance that we're not going to go play for Cleveland. We're not going to go play for the Jets. We're not going to go play for whatever. But if his opportunity is there, Everybody's got to start somewhere. If he's that good of an athlete, he'll make a change. And if it was my son, I know he's talented enough to get drafted. I'm going to let my son go and get developed and to prove himself in the game. What you're going to do is disrupt the flow of your son and where he potentially can go. And if his choice is, we just like these 3 or 4 teams, well, those 3 or 4 teams are going to make a determination of, can we use this? No, their big need is defensive line. Their big need is this. Nobody else drafts him and he's available. That'll be the pick that's going to happen with his son. That may not happen in the first round. Now, somebody takes him in the first round and ignores Deion. Now Deion them got to deal with them. Okay? Because they own that right. They own that pick, right?
Right.
Now they can go and negotiate it. Somebody's going to take him up on that. And they're going to use that tool and draft him and use that as a negotiating ploy. He doesn't control the draft. No one individual controls it. Nobody in the past has ever done that.
No.
I don't care who it is, Eli or whatever. It worked out for him, right?
Right.
But they don't control the draft. The NFL made it work for them. And he ended up being at the right place he wanted to be. And then Elway, that was the first time. He was a baseball player. He threatened with that.
Right.
Shedeur doesn't have that.
No, he doesn't have that backup. However, I'm going to get into another example. I'm seeing a trend here. I agree with you. I just want to state for the record, I've watched a lot of Shedeur Sanders. He does have talent. I'm also going to say he reminds me a lot of Tyrod Taylor.
Yep.
And who is a good player. He's a good player, but he is not a starter in the NFL.
Yep, he's a journeyman.
He's a journeyman. And when I watch him, I'm thinking, my gosh, it's like watching Tyrod Taylor. They could be the same human. Travis Hunter, great athlete, very diminutive size. I saw what happened with Tavon Austin at the Rams and other guys who were incredible in college who came on and weren't superstar status. So I'm fascinated. And of course, the rumor is it's going to be a package deal. Deion's going to go coach the Cowboys and bring Shedeur. That will be a disaster for Cowboys fans. I'm on record right here. And the other team is the Raiders, who are a hot, steaming mess of an organization right now. So hold on tight. But Preston, got to ask you, not only as a former pro, but as a father of several sons, some of which played pro football, are we seeing a trend in 2024? Need I point to some guy named LeBron James and Bronny James, where these dads are controlling narratives for sons? Does that help or hurt these kids?
Well, what they're going to lose out on is their personal growth and decision making in going through this journey and getting to the pros. Every one of these young men that you talked about, they're talented.
Sure.
So they would be there anyway. But now you got the dad that's influence. And, the only time I got involved with my sons is to make sure a coach didn't jump in my child's face and say, your dad wouldn't do it like that. Your dad's not that.
Yeah.
And I always told my boys, look, first time a coach tells you that, you let him know your name is Ryan Denard, PJ Denard. You're not Preston Denard. And
excellent.
I'm not trying to be what my dad was. I'm trying to be the best version, derivative of what skills and talents he gave me. And he's his own man. But as far as the concept we're talking about these athletes who are actually still part of the game, and their sons are coming in, and they want to streamline them. First of all, it's not fair to everybody else in the league.
Right.
And when I say it's not fair that now you're negotiating the journey of your athlete within the game and the confines that you're in. That's the LeBron issue. Now, is anybody going to argue with LeBron? No. But
he's hurt the league, though. He's hurt that league. I'm sorry, blunt.
Yeah. Well,
everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
That's my opinion.
I think Bronny's at the right place. He needs to develop because he's not ready to step on that platform where his dad's at.
Not close.
Maybe even they thought so or whatever. And to be honest with you, I'm going to step out and say this. His butt should be at USC right now.
Yes.
Being the best athlete he can be.
Yes.
Because coming out as early, he didn't have to come out.
No.
If it was solely about finances, he didn't have to come out. If it's solely about, I got to get mine now, he didn't have to come out. There's a window of opportunity, and the better you are and the more developed you are commands the respect and the attention you're going to get down the road. Does that equate financially? It sure does. Are you a better athlete today than you were yesterday? You sure are. Then you
Yeah.
qualify to be entertained as a financial investment, and you might be able to play in this game. Not everybody's ready to play. And I'll back up, and I'll also say this. Deion would certainly hurt his child if he does a package deal.
Yes.
He will never allow his young man to grow and mature in the game. He'll never be a matured athlete. He'll always have that influence, and that influence is the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
That's not
Nailed it.
2024, 25, and the game has changed him. And now you're going to come and bring this back. You're changing the whole dynamics of the game.
Right.
Was it unfair to me personally when I came out of college and one of the top receivers in the country and didn't get drafted? No, I didn't like it.
Of course.
But here's the difference, and here's what I'm saying. I was developed. I had the skill set. I took it to the next level, and they all said, wow, how come you didn't get drafted? Didn't matter to me. I did what I knew to do. We missed on that, but the Rams didn't. Ended up starting the second year. We go to the Super Bowl, have a wonderful career after that. They don't always get it right.
Nope.
But those who are in the position of the Deions and the LeBrons, they're going to do it wrong because you just can't interfere with the process of your child to be the best athlete they can be, and then to be able to make decisions based on their own abilities and their mindset of where they want to go. Give them the independence, the individuality. Give them the opportunity you had to go through this game instead of babysitting them, because you'll never allow them to emotionally and mentally grow up physically with the game.
Yep. Well said, my friend. We are in lockstep. I agree. I think they're hurting their kids. I think they're hurting the very definition of team. I will say this, two quick things. When I saw that Bronny James said he's not going to travel with his G League team to away games, I just choked on laughter. That is a disaster. A disaster. And then for anybody in the NFL, any of the good teams, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, teams that are run with good leadership will run from Shedeur Sanders. They will trade that draft pick and let the Dallas Cowboys do what they do, which is create 10-year disasters. So very important for these. I love these guys are good, fathers. I know they love their kids, but wow, what a unique perspective in 2024. Times are changing.
Yeah.
Awesome, my friend. Great conversation this week. Good to see you.
Yes, sir.
And we dived into the deep end of the pool, didn't we, with some of the latest news?
We did, but you know what? We can't we can't shy away from it because it's here. This is
right.
what we got to deal with, and this is what we got to see. Do people want to know our opinion? Oh, they get to hear it. Do they want to formulate their opinions about what we know? But we bring it to the table. We place it there for you to choose what you want to eat.
That's
And
right.
How you process it is totally up to you in your digestion of the information we provide you.
Pass the gravy. Pass the gravy.
I love it. Thanksgiving's coming, my friend.
It's coming. It's coming. Well, good to see you, my friend. Thank you all for being here. Follow along with us on our journey there at Gridiron Icon on Twitter, X and Instagram. And of course, you can listen to the show on all the usual spots, including YouTube, if you want to see the very handsome Preston Denard
No, you're talking about yourself.
in his new studio. Nobody wants to see me, my friend.
I'm trying to catch up to you, brother.
We both got the goat going. We both got it. All right, folks. Thanks for being here. Preston and I will see you next week.